Hello and welcome to the All Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, William Harris, aka William is Bill, and I'm so glad to be back with you guys for another great episode of the All Rookie Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to break down my top 14 players for the upcoming NBA draft. We've been through 1 through 10 so far, so we're going to go through 11 through 14, and it's just in time for the lottery results, which will be revealed May 10th, because the lottery is May 10th. That's coming up very soon in 3 days, 2 days by the time you're hearing this. And it's going to determine a lot of things. The lottery balls will pop up like the lottery in real life, and it will let you know who's going to have the first pick, second pick, third pick. And it will help me and others determine where we feel these prospects will land and have the best landing spot and opportunity to succeed. So, if you do remember, I'm going to go through 1 through 10 so far that we've already named. As far as my rankings, number 1, Darren Peterson. Number 2, AJ Debonsa. Number 3, Kingston Flemings. Number 4, Michael Brown. Number 5, Cam Boozer. Number 6, Nate Ament. Number 7, Caleb Wilson. Number 8, Heinz Steinbach. Number 9, Yaxo Lindeborg. And number 10, Keaton Wagler. So, very controversial list a little bit, but I broke down my feelings and beliefs of why I believe that is the true top 10 in this draft class. Of course, there are some guys that are really close, and you can give or take, move things around a tiny bit, and the combine might be just enough to move things around a tiny bit. I don't put much stock into it, but that's coming up next week as well. So, on this day of the pre-lottery results, let's go through the 14, because if you're not aware, the lottery is the bottom 14 teams. They are all the ones who have an opportunity to move up in the draft, possibly get the number 1 spot. You never know. So we will see. But as for now, my number 11 prospect from the All Rookie Podcast is, drumroll please, Chris Sinak. Chris Sinak, have you heard of him? The 6'11" big from Houston. He's 19 years old, 230 pounds, averaged 10 points, 8 boards, 1 steal, 0.5 blocks, shot 49% from the field, and 33% from three-point range. So a big that can shoot it, that's always looked highly upon. Now, Chris Sinak is a very athletic, good shooting big, always in the right spot, the dunker position, great cutter, has the ability to be an impact defender as well. Great shot blocker potential. I hate that he averaged 0.5 blocks per game. He's got to step that up. And all his numbers are kind of not of a player that you would expect to be ranked 11, because averaging 10 points is not that great. 8 boards is good, but 0.5 blocks is not that good. But remember, a guy like Derek Lively averaged 5 points and I think 5 rebounds. So, you got to look at it as production is one thing, but projecting is another thing. And once you get past 10, you're not, and sometimes even before 10, you are not one to just take the player that averages 20 points per game. You want a guy that, how will he fare in the NBA? Is his body type, his skill set, his potential have the possibility to be elite? And Chris Sinak has that body frame, athleticism, wingspan to potentially be a disruptor and a very impactful player for an NBA team. Great cutter, has the ability, like I said, to change defenses. And now you have guys like Wemby, Chet, all these bigs that are not bulky, but just long. Khalil Ware, you're going to need a guy like Chris Sinak on your team if you don't have a big like that. And so he's very young, 19 years old. He showed flashes of the defensive capabilities as far as blocking, but he is a lob threat for sure. He's not as good as Khalil Ware, but the same body type and athleticism. It's really great that he can shoot the ball. Like, he legitimately can shoot the three-pointer. That makes him more than just like a Jackson Hayes type of rim runner type or Derek Lively. He can blow by his man with a simple move and get to the rack. His post game has not developed yet, but if he gets some great coaching, that certainly can improve as well, especially since he's a good shooter. And, he played 25 minutes per game as well. So that is not a full load. So when you see half a block, 10 points, if he was playing 30, 32 minutes per game, those numbers would look even better. So I would have loved if he was more effective at scoring, but he's a young freshman. He should be good in the NBA. Being 6'11" is huge. If he was 6'9", he wouldn't be up this high. It probably wouldn't stand out. But as a center with his size and skills, they're definitely needed. Honestly, he should stay in school to continue to develop. But I feel an NBA team will go ahead and plug him right now, get him in anywhere from the 10 to 16 range. And he may be going through a developmental year this year, but then the next year, you're going to see a potential star blossoming. So any player that's going to be picked in the top 15, for the most part, is not going back to school. So, but I would love to see him more polished, and I think that will happen just on the NBA's time or on the G League's time. But he can be good and so much better, and he'll show a lot more in the NBA than he showed in college, I feel, in the upcoming year. So Chris Sinak, love his potential. That's why I have him at 11, and I think his ceiling is so high that you can't pass him up in the lottery for sure. Now, number 12 on my list, a guy that's been talked about a lot. I've been questioned. Why has he not been on the list so far? Some people have him in the top 5, top 7. I have him at number 12, and that is, drum roll, Darius Acuff. And when I came into this process, I wanted to like Darius Acuff a lot because I was hearing a lot of negative things about him, actually. And then I was like, no, I know he's good. Like, why is everybody hating on Darius Acuff? And if you're not aware, he's the point guard from Arkansas, 6'3", 190 pounds, 19 years old, averaged 23 points per game, 3 boards, 6.5 assists, 1 steal per game. All good numbers. Shot 48% from the field, 44% from 3. That is tremendous. Why is he at 12? I'll tell you why he's at 12. And like I was saying, I was expecting to move him way up higher than everybody else had him. But there were a few things that concerned me. Now, like I said, tremendous three-point shooter, and not just standing still or open off screens either. He can hit it off the dribble. He can shoot it heavily contested. He has a really nice handle, very smooth driving to the rack. Darius knows how to get to his spot so he can get to his finger roll. He's small in height and weight. He's listed as 6'3", but I wouldn't be surprised if he's 6'2". So that could take him a while to reach his full potential. He could get knocked around in the paint, especially. His three-point shooting could save him, though, and get him a very long career. Also, his passing, 6.5% assists per game is essential, especially when he plays pretty strictly below the rim and pretty finesse. So he does have great blow-by speed, has a nice floater, but like I said, there are concerns. He has great court vision, makes some passes you can never even imagine. Like, truly a really good passer. Puts his teammate in great positions for easy buckets. His passing is top-notch at 19. Not a great defender, but he does try. He gets blown by at times, but recovers, poking his hand in there every now and then. Now, he's a smaller guard, finishes with a lot of layups. That won't be easy in the NBA. That's going to be tough. You have a lot of bigger guards in this draft that I feel will have a much easier time finishing in the NBA. So, Darius is a very clutch player, loves the moment, can go off at any time. But if he is not the guy in the NBA, I wonder how that will translate and how he will adjust, or if he will get lost in the shuffle. The one-on-one over-dribbling type of style of basketball that point guards play is not highly sought after anymore. This is not the day of Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson. It's actually frowned upon. Now, his assist and shooting could save him, but that style of play, teams don't like it. So, you look at a lot of guys recently, and it's not been working that well. And he, in my opinion, is almost identical to Rob Dillingham. They play very similar styles. and they both shot 44% from three as well. So when you see 44%, you're like, throw that stuff out the window. He shot 44% from three. So did Rob Dillingham. You know, they're the same size, elite ball handlers, also ball dominant and smaller guards, great handles, great one-on-one players. And it's just, you know, think of a guy like Cam Thomas, think of a guy like Nick Smith Jr., Darius Acuff, in my opinion, is following in that vein a little bit more than what is actually being successful in the NBA right now. So don't get me wrong, tremendous college player. Really, really, really great shooter, great handles. He has everything that you think you would want in a great NBA prospect. But the way the NBA is treating players that play like him is not great. Either they're not getting the opportunity or they're being coached into playing a different way. And most of them are just not even getting real minutes. So that's my big concern from Darius Acuff. Not saying he won't be successful. I hope he will be. It's just a lot of arrows pointing in the wrong direction. So we'll see how it goes. So I cannot have him in my top 10. Love you though, Darius. All right, number 13 on my list. A young fella that's rising up a lot of people's draft boards. Let's get to him. Do you know Braden Burries? The 20-year-old from Arizona, 6'4", 205 pounds, averaged 16 points, 5 boards, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals per game. Almost 50% shooting and 38% from three. Braden Burries plays like he's 6'7". He can be very aggressive and will dunk all over you. Excellent three-point shooter. Can be silky smooth as a guard, slicing and dicing through the defense. Very good at finishing, even in traffic. Can get in control and finish at his own pace. Can fly up and down the court, but also can thrive in the half-court offense at a slower pace. He's a good rebounding guard, really good ball handler at creating space. He can do it all on the offensive side of the ball. Braden can move without the ball and get open for the three or shoot the three off the dribble. And he's a good passer and steal merchant. He's always involved on the defensive side, breaking up plays and getting his hands on the rock. You cannot leave him open at all. With any space, he can score. And he knows how to create, whether it's with fakes, jukes, or movements. He's a clutch player, nice tight handle, dribbles in a lot of traffic, but he maintains control of the ball and the situation. I'm not sure he's a starter from day one, but he's very skilled and could be even better in the NBA if given the opportunity. He always plays under control, has nice soft touch in the paint, has a good floater. You can say he's kind of similar to Walter Clayton from last year's draft, but he's 2 years younger and he's an inch taller. Both shot around 38, 39% from three, very similar styles. Braden is a better rebounder. Clayton is a better passer. So I think Braden has the potential to be looked at even higher than Walter Clayton. But I mean, Walter Clayton's destiny has not been drawn out yet, but he's a really good prospect as well. So we will see how that goes. And for my 14th prospect to cap off the lottery, which is coming up soon for the results, and we'll have a show on that right after it drops. It is the big man from Michigan, Aday Mara. If you have not heard, he's transferred from UCLA to Michigan, ended up winning the championship with Michigan. The 7'3" big man, Spanish-born, 255 pounds, 20 years old, 12 points, 7 boards, 2.5 assists, 2.5 blocks, shot 67% from the field and 33% from three. Now, if you don't know Aday Mara, he's a huge big man. Like when you look at it and you say 7'3", 255, you're like, is this another Zach Edey? What's going on? Is this a Wemby? But he's a huge big man with some actual nice post moves. But he's very stiff at times and not really strong, at least not yet. So he could have issues if he's throwing the ball in the NBA in the paint and expected to score. I think that might take some time. He normally has 1 or 2 moves, going to spin or put up the hook or floater. And that's just going to take time as well. That's what the NBA is for. They have NBA coaches to put you in a position to be your best. but he is for sure ready to go as a big-time lob threat and a great rebounder. He moves well without the ball. Still a lot of work to do offensively. Like I said, skill-wise, he's a pick-and-roll threat. He is in this position more about height than skill. You know, if he's 6'9", he's probably not even getting drafted. But he's 7'3". That will be very useful in today's NBA. Like I mentioned with the Chet Holmgrens and with the Wembanyamas, they're over 7'3", 7'2". And you got to have people out there that can stick with them, you know, give them some trouble. And then not to mention Zach Edey. But I think he will be a very useful big in the NBA, even if it's just for 20 minutes a game to clog the paint, provide rim protection, guard bigger guys like he is as far as height-wise. But I don't think he's ready to be a starter yet. He's a guy that may need that year as well to develop. But, you know, he can play a Jackson Hayes type of role for sure. Maybe 20 minutes per game, like I said, because he has a nice shot, can even shoot some threes every now and then. And like I said, 33% from three. So that's solid. Has a nice left-hand hook as well. And like I said, but sometimes he looks stiff out there. Sometimes he looks fluid. But anything near the rim is his area to shine. You put him with a great passing point guard, and it's going to be a really good connection there that will help him and the point guard. And like I said, people will compare him to Zach Edey, but Zach Edey was much more of a dominant player. And he moves better all around, bigger and stronger. So, and he was much more effective than Mara in the paint. So Mara can get there because Edey was a senior and Mara is 2 years younger than Edey when he came out, and he's just as big, but he definitely needs more polish and more post moves. And like I said, he's a great team player, good passer. I think he's a better defensive player than offensive player. So even if his offensive game does not come to pan, his defense is probably what he's going to be out there and needed for, even if it's just a guard, like I said, the bigs that are his height. And he does move his feet very well on defense, even when he switched against guards. Great shot contester. Almost 3 blocks per game. You love that. So he definitely is a game changer on defense. So, like, even if you don't get the block, you're adjusting shots or you're making players not even take the shot. So, like I said, he alters the shots because they avoid the shot altogether. And, you know, he's a champion, came to Michigan, worked well with other bigs. So I don't think there's any situation where he won't perform well. But I think if you put him with a great passing point guard, that is where he truly will flourish. But, you know, we saw a guy go to Portland, can't even think of his name right now, but didn't get on the floor at all because he wasn't technically ready yet. So Aday Mara could go to a team where they really need a big, need 20 minutes per game, and he'll do that. Or he can go to a situation like the center and point guard, the center in Portland that did not get to play at all and take a year to develop. We shall see. So that is 11 through 14. Preparing you guys for the lottery. Can't wait to see the results of that. And then I can start projecting where I feel some players are going to go. I don't really like doing mock drafts because it makes me go away from my rankings a little bit. So like if a team has Tyrese Maxey or Tyrese Halliburton and my top prospect is a point guard, I wouldn't put that point guard on that team. So it moves players down for me. But I know that's what everyone likes to see, and they love the mock draft. So I will be doing some. But my favorite thing is just ranking players from top to bottom as far as skill set. So I'll be doing those big board rankings as well. But I just wanted to get you guys through 14 right now. Next one, we'll go to 30. I might cut it in half, you know, but I'll start getting a few more guys in there to get the list moving, especially with the mock draft season coming up and then the combine. So if you don't remember, though, number 11 was Chris Sinak from Houston. Number 12, Darius Acuff from Arkansas. Number 13, Braden Burries from Arizona. And number 14, Aday Mara from Michigan. So let me know what you guys feel about that list. Do you think my top 14 is crazy? If you didn't see 1 through 10, check those previous episodes of the All Rookie Podcast. I appreciate you guys so much for listening, watching, and joining. Subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. Get me all these followers and comments, like everybody else does. And I see so many other shows, and like a guy that I have fifth, Michael Brown, people were very low on him. He's performing now, working with NBA players. People are seeing him now in this setting, and they're like, oh man, he's really good. I'm moving him up on my board. I'm moving da-da-da. When you see people doing that, they are following trends, following what other people are doing. I already had him at 5. If you can't see that from his tape, then I don't know if you're really truly judging these players off of what they do on the court. You're seeing rankings and you're saying, well, I guess he has to go in this range. I don't rank players like that. If a guy is 30th and I think he's 10th, I'm going to put him 10th. So just be aware of that. So if you see something on my list, like why is Darius Acuff 12th and not 4th? Everyone else has him 4th, 5th, or 6th. I'm not going by what everyone else says. I'm going what I feel like the NBA will feel about these players as well. So, all right, that's enough of me for today. Until next time, like, subscribe, like I said, to the All Rookie Podcast. Follow us at Sports Ethos and at William is Bill. And until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.